Hey everybody, so this is using my Grabie supplies part two. So on the last one, I showed you that I got a Grabie box just by commenting on a YouTube video for Indiana Jones. So just know that if you comment, there's a good likelihood that it could bring you something good. And this isn't the first video I made where I've used some of the supplies. So if you're interested in either what was in the box or what other thing I made, just check in the video and I'll try to put it in the show more so that you can go to the next one. So I have a bunch of cards that I had from different things that I got, whether it was an order or something, and I took some and I cut them to fit into these smaller envelopes and decided to make some cards to send out for the holiday. And the Grabie supplies have so many pretty papers. I mean, you can just put those on, put a little sentiment on it, and they're good to go. They're really good thick cardstock too. So you can use them to put into journals or create little booklets if you wanted to. I really sped this up and cut out some things because there was just so much to go through, and it was really, for me, it was difficult to pick things out. And I cut a lot of it out because I didn't want to bore you. Excuse me. So this was a belly band that was on some of the paper, and I decided to use that just as sentiments on some of the card fronts. I thought it worked out really nice. So you pretty much all you need is glue. If you have some cardstock that you can make cards out of and envelopes, you're good to go. You really don't need much else. And the cardstock is so thick that you probably could just use that and make a postcard out of it if you cut it out to the right size. You know, the post office has some things that you have to be very careful about. Like I said, this has so much stuff in it. It was really hard for me to pick. I think that there's enough for me to share, and I think it would be great to be able to share it with somebody. I know that this will last me for a year, a couple of years of Halloweens, having some choices, and it's amazing how much stuff is in here. So here's one of the things. You can see how I'm struggling trying to figure out what to do next. And there's another thing I have to apologize for. I am short, so when I work at my table, a lot of the stuff is at the bottom of the screen, and it's really difficult for me to remember to push everything forward because I don't reach. I can't reach that far, but I do try. Now here's the thing. I didn't take the backing off of this, so in reality, the person who receives this card could actually pull that off and it will still have a sticky back on it. And it could be used on something else too. So just as a little, just so you know. I hope I explained that well. So I thought that was so cute. And not all of, see, there's the sticky. And I don't fuss about things too much. Here, I'll take this off here so that you can see. Boom, here it is. And sometimes I think I do things. See how it's out of range. I know, I apologize. I really have to try harder to move the camera down. Sometimes that stand comes into the line of where I'm working. I don't care how much space you have in front of you. It always seems like everything gets so, I don't know. Oh, I cut that out because it was out of line of sight. So I just glued it in and then cut off the bottom. And actually, I really wish I put it on the outside of the card. Yeah, which I'm doing now, because I really think it went so well with the cardstock that you get with Grabie. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know how else you would say it. Grabie. Yeah. Look at how cute that is. Yeah, and it's a little big, but you know, when you cut it off, it's not that bad. All right, now I'm going to use some distress inks and do the background. I do have a lot of cardstock left over I could have used, but I chose to try to use some of my inks because that was out. And I think they come out really pretty sometimes. You'll see. I think it works out really nicely. It's just a matter of playing. And like I said, I cut this down. I fast forward. I cut things out because sometimes it just is overwhelming. Those are really pretty colors for a Halloween card, I think. And you have to, when you do this on a card, I like to put it under something so it flattens out as it dries, and it makes the card it go back to normal because all the fibers get wet. And see how it's curling? So I like to put it under the mat I have on my desk. I don't know. So I think it's really, there's just the plethora of things you can do with this is amazing to me. Which would you prefer? Do you prefer to just use the cardstock, or do you like doing the distress inks? If I had time, I probably would have used my jelly plate as well to do backgrounds and then use the cardstock on it. I mean, I would have enough to send cards to everybody. And I mean everybody, because like I have 5 cards now, and I'll have to think of people to send them to. See how pretty that is? I like it. And I just have an extra card piece just sitting on the side to soak up what's left over. And there we are. And so you just fold them up and put them on under something and makes them pretty flat. So this was a stencil I used on another card. Not a card, in a journal. And I learned something when I did this. So it seemed, I don't have the dauber. There's a dauber you can use to put the ink on. But I have a little thing that I use to stamp with, it's not like the brush, it's smaller than that, it's a fingertip one. And I found that you can do better with that one if you don't have the ink with the dauber ink for embossing. And I was just playing around thinking, what am I gonna highlight them all or what? It's so cute. It really is. Look at that. It's just adorable. And then this, I think this worked out best this way because I put the faces down where I wanted them and then put the pumpkin design on top. Now it faded out the faces, but you now know where your faces are going to go, and you just line them up and it works out. It looks really, really cute. See? And that way you don't have to try to make sure that you have everything in order in the other when you do the pumpkin first and not the the faces, then you kind of have to determine where you want it. So I do appreciate you being here, and if you've watched to now, thank you. I'm really grateful, and hopefully I will see you the next time.